Well, welcome to the last lecture series. This is our third last lecture series, and what it's about is universities across the nation, Carnegie Mellon, Stanford, and now Miami-Dade College, invite members of the faculty to deliver a lecture as if it were to be the last one. It should sum up the significant words of wisdom, inspiration, or advice that he or she would impart to the students. A few years ago, you might have heard about a man who gave his real last lecture after discovering he had terminal cancer. Randy Posh brought these last lecture series to nationwide attention. And now we bring the last lecture series here to you, the Miami-Dade College community. Preceded by the luminary professors Charles Cox and Juan Abascal. This year, the third year, last lecturer is Hector Vazquez, and he's going to be introduced by one of his star students who has benefit from his wisdom.
Oh my God.
Amanda Gonzalez.
Oh my God, Amanda.
Last fall semester, our teacher of music history had to take a leave of absence. So we were all very unsure, my classmates and I, of who would take over the class, who would come in, and then Dr. Vazquez came in. We were all a little nervous. We weren't sure how to react to the change, to the switch of a new teacher, but slowly and surely I grew to really love the class. I used to go up to Dr. Vazquez frequently and ask, what's my grade? How am I doing? Do I have the A yet? He would just smile and say, are you learning the material? Well, then that's enough. Just focus on learning the material. And as I learned the material and as I sat in his class, I experienced something that I'll never forget. Yeah, I learned a lot about music history, but I learned a little bit more. I was able to experience Dr. Vazquez and his love affair with music. It impacted me in such a way that I can't express to you. As a musician myself, I saw the passion and intensity with which he would teach the subject. He would frequently say a quote. He would say, as a matter of factly, music is the greatest of the arts. And I hope all of you believe that, because if not, you wouldn't be in this class. And I took that to heart, and I really grew to have that love affair as well with music. Again, I forgot about my grades. I forgot about getting the A, and I just wanted to grasp everything that Dr. Vazquez had to share. At the end of the class, I did end up getting the A. And I was so excited, but more than that, I learned a life lesson. I was able to grasp knowledge and wisdom from a man that I admire so much, and it's with that I present to you. It's my honor and privilege to present to you Dr. Hector Vazquez.
I'm very moved by Amanda's words. Thank you very much, Amanda. I was also very moved when Martin Magellan asked me to do this, because the two people that had come before me I have incredible respect for. So I was very, very, very moved when she asked me to do it. Anybody who knows me personally knows that I'm pretty shy. I don't like talking in public. So I had to think about it before I said yes. It's strange that I would say that, because that's what I do all day. I talk to 100 students at a time. But it's a lesson to me to understand that when you love what you do, and when you have something that you truly believe in, a lot of obstacles simply disappear, because I don't like talking to crowds. I don't like standing up in front of a group. And yet my desire to communicate whatever it is that I feel to my students is so strong that shyness or that obstacle is removed. So let that be a lesson to you, that when you're following your heart and when you're following what you love, the doors simply open. And a lot of the things that you have that you think are obstacles in your personality or in life or whatever simply cease to exist. It's a really wonderful thing. Another lesson that I'd like for you to kind of take from this whole endeavor is that when she asked me to give a lecture as if it were my last, I have 1 hour to tell you everything that I want to say. That's impossible. I can't in 1 hour give you everything that I want to give you, share with you everything that I want to share, grab you and shake you and say, look at this, look at how beautiful this is, incredible, get your mind straight. I can't do that in an hour. So it tells me that we better be living our lives on task every day now, because it can't happen in one day. It can't happen in 1 hour. It takes a lifetime to do what you think that you need to do. Is that not right? Say yes. So you make sure that you go out in the world and you tell people that you love them. You make sure that you go out in the world and you do what you love, that you're following your heart, that you're following your passions, that every single day is an incredible experience, so that when you get to be, my age and you look back and say, oh my God, I've lived a great life. I was watching a thing on TV the other day, The Tudors. Has anybody watched it? Well, it's about Henry VIII and whatever. There's a scene in it that happened the other night, and I thought was very poignant, at least to me in my particular moment in life. Henry VIII says to one of his best friends, he says, Charles, what's happened to us? And his best friend since childhood says, we've lost our youth, and no one can give that back to us. And I thought, what an incredible thing, that from your moment in time, you're 18, 19, however old you are, to me, I'm 53, it's a blink of an eye. It's like I blink my eye and I was 21 years old. So where did that go? So I look back and I think to myself, I've lived my life doing what I wanted to do. I've lived my life sharing what I wanted to share and experiencing life in a way that I truly value. So I look back at my life and I said, I've lost my youth, but I've used my youth to help the world, I hope, and to certainly experience life in the way that I wanted. It's not like I look back to my life and say, oh my God, I've wasted my life. I never did what I wanted. I never experienced my life as I wanted. So I want that for you. I truly want that for you, that when you get to be 50 and 60 and 70, you look back to your life and you say, oh my God, what a wonderful life I've had. I've done my life as I chose, and I've experienced life to the fullest that I am capable of experiencing, because I wanted to learn and I wanted to see things. So I want you to take those two lessons, do what you love, and experience every day as if it were your last, because you can't live your life in one day at the last minute, in 1 hour. So I put together a little PowerPoint to see if I can kind of give you some things. A couple of years ago, one of my friends, one of my colleagues from my department gave me an article on Sherlock Holmes, and I found this quote. Those of you who are my students know that I like quotes. And I found this quote, and I've had it in the inside of my office for 4 or 5 years or whatever. And it says, the world stands before us in perfect clarity. It is our lenses of attention that are clouded and obscured. In other words, the world is constantly teaching you, the world is constantly showing you how beautiful it is, how magnificent it is. And yet we go through life like this with closed eyes. Is the day not a beautiful day today? Well, you should all, I hope that you wake up in the morning and say, oh my God, what a beautiful day. I want to sit under a tree. Oh my God, what a beautiful day. I just want to touch that leaf. And then you've already experienced a day in a different way than just simply, I got to go to work, I got to go to school, I got to do this, right? So the world is constantly saying to you, look at me, look at how beautiful this is. And a lot of times, we need to open our eyes, we need to kind of get those lenses clearer. So what I want to do, I've been trying to do for 25 years, I want to open your eyes. Another quote that I love is that this is from a really kind of bad movie called Harry and the Volcano or something like that. But it struck me because I find it very, very true. It says, the world is full of people sleeping, and those that are awake are in constant amazement. Do you understand what that says? The world is full of people sleeping, and those that are awake are in constant amazement. You can't help but be in awe of the world. You can't help but be in awe of human beings, of our potential, of our beauty, of the world around us. So what you want to do is every day, a little bit, open your eye, wake up in the morning and say, I want to open my eyes. I want to be aware of the world. I want to see what the world really is. Then another one that I love very much, another quote that I love very much is an anonymous Buddhist saying. It says, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. When the student is ready, the teacher will come. That means that when you're ready to learn, everything is your teacher, yes? The world says, my God, that tree in the field over here is my teacher. It teaches me to say, oh my God, the world is beautiful. Some person's kindness is a lesson to me, is my teacher. The other day I came in here to get ready for this, and Eric over there, I think he's back there, was unbelievably pleasant and helpful and kind. That's a lesson to me, is that not? So when the student is ready, the teacher will come. I want you to be ready to learn, because as soon as you're ready to learn, the whole world says, let me teach you. Let me show you how beautiful it is. So the world is full of people sleeping, and those that are awake are in constant amazement. I want you to be constantly in awe of the beauty of the world. And the other one is, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. I want you to be ready. So I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to realize that we live in paradise. For God's sakes, we get to live on this little planet, right? We get to live in this beautiful, beautiful planet. Oh, I want to be there now. How can I focus on negative things? How can I focus on petty things, on stupid things, when I get to live here? When I get to enjoy this, and by the way, we're very lucky in Miami that we're so close to the ocean, one of the most beautiful things on the planet. Yes? Yep. I studied in Bloomington, Indiana, and I love Bloomington, I love that place, but it's not close to the ocean. I grew up in Miami, so I'm very close to the ocean, and I find that incredibly beautiful. So open your eyes and allow yourself to understand that we live in paradise, so that every day concentrate on the beauty of the world rather than on the petty, stupid things that very often take up our time. I want to be there, but the funny thing is that I live there. I live on planet Earth, so it's a wonderful thing. Has anybody ever been up north in the fall? It is extraordinary. It is extraordinary. If you've never done it, decide that you're going to do it. The first time that I saw it, I remember I was 21 years old, and the leaves were this high on the floor, fallen leaves, and I was just walking through them, kicking them, and thinking, I can't believe that I'm experiencing this. It is magnificent. The trees are bright yellow, bright red, bright orange, and you think, wow, how could I ever complain about anything? I need to stop complaining. I need to start looking at the world as it truly is and realize that I live in paradise. Look at that. Does anybody remember when you were kids and you used to like to play in the rain? Well, why don't you do that now? Because we're adults, right? We're not supposed to do that. Well, it's beautiful, the rain. I want you to open your eyes and understand winter is beautiful, summer is beautiful, spring is beautiful. When it's sunny, it's beautiful. When it rains, it's beautiful. Yes? Mountains are beautiful, forests are beautiful, the beach is beautiful, for God's sakes. We live in paradise. Can you sense it in your head, the smell of the ground after it rains? That beautiful, incredible sense of almost dirt and leaves and whatever. Oh, how sweet. The animal, anybody who knows me knows I'm crazy for animals. The animal world is beautiful. I mean, dogs are a miracle of nature, are they not? Yes, they are. Everywhere you look. I'd like for you to, after today's class, lecture, or whatever we want to call it, I'd like to see a couple of you out in the field looking at the weeds and seeing and picking some leaves and noticing that the weeds have flowers and that every flower is a work of art. That sometimes the little flowers, you cut them up open and they have another little flower in them. It is amazing. It is amazing. And all of this is here for us to look at, and we simply walk past it thinking, oh, the world is horrible. Oh, I'm sick of it. Oh, I got to go to work. I got to go to school. And the world says, please look at me. Please enjoy me. Has anybody been up north when it snows? Again, I remember being a kid and seeing snow for the first time, because I grew up in Miami. Sometimes when it snows, the snow is absolutely, absolutely brilliantly white. And then for some strange reason, very often right after a big snowstorm, the sun comes out and it's as bright as a sky as today. So you see this beautiful, beautiful blue sky and this white carpet on the ground. Wow. In spring, even before the snow melts, very often the little flowers start coming up from the snow. You've seen that? Guys, go see it. Make a decision to go see that. This is in the Smoky Mountains. Sometimes when I go there and just walk around in the woods and whatever, I think that I understand everything. Has anybody ever had that experience of being somewhere in nature and thinking, feeling that you understand everything, that everything makes perfect sense? I see it all now, it's so clear. Well, I want you to go there and sit on a rock and listen to that water. Can you hear that water in your head now? Shh, like that. Waterfalls, beautiful. We're very lucky in Miami that we have beautiful sunsets. You want to see something beautiful? Go to the top floor of the parking garage at sunset and then look west. It is extraordinary, extraordinary. You see this giant orange ball going down into the sky, and the sky is orange and yellow and blue and purple and every imaginable color. How could you conceivably say, oh my God, the world is bad? Oh, people, oh my God, everything's a miracle. Everything is wonderful. This is a picture that I took on Bird Road and 147th Avenue, just before 147th Avenue. I used to live out at Lakes of the Meadow, and I had my camera with me this day, and I'm driving down, and there's a Winn-Dixie, to those of you who know that area, there's a Winn-Dixie on the corner. There is now, I think there's a CVS or something on the other corner. Back then the CVS didn't exist, but so I had my camera with me, and I thought, oops, humanities class. I want to show my students this. Again, let that be a lesson to you. I love what I do so much that I'm going anywhere that I go, and I'm thinking about, I want to share that with my students. Imagine if you were lucky enough to have a job where that you love so much that you can't wait to get to work because you want to talk to the people that you work with. That's amazing. Study what you love, and that's what your life is going to be like. Study what you don't love, and your every day is going to be a disaster. Why would you want to study something that you don't love? Has anybody ever, I hope you have, just gotten down on the floor, on the grass in your backyard and looked at the sky? Did you do that when you were kids? Why don't you do that now? Because we're adults, we're not supposed to do that. Well, you should do that. You should do that. Just today, when you get home, hey, Mom, Dad, I think I'm going to go in the backyard and lie on the grass. Honey, what's wrong with you? Go out to the Everglades, go out south to Chrome and at sunset or at sunrise and see the spectacle that nature puts on every day for us. We live in a magnificent place, in a beautiful planet, and we should be aware of that. Did anybody notice the moon at the beginning of March? I think it was the 1st of March. I was driving on Coral Way. I was going east. Yeah, east. And you know, Coral Way has those big trees down, you know, around like 27th Avenue. And all of a sudden the trees opened and I saw this gigantic thing. I thought, what is that, a flying saucer? Is that, what is that? It was this giant, beautiful yellow thing close to the ground. It seemed that you could touch it. I was going to my cousin's house. She lives in an apartment on Coral Way. By the time I came up and walked on her balcony, it was already smalling up. So you have to be aware, you have to be open so that when these incredible things happen, you're aware of them and you see them and you enjoy them. Because sometimes they're very fleeting. Look at that beautiful moon. Look at this beautiful moon. Guys, what building is that? Parthenon. The Parthenon. When was it completed? 432. Who's the architect? Oh, Ictinos, thank you very much. You guys go to the backyard and sit and look at the stars? You should. Even in Miami, where we have a lot of lights and a lot of the stars are bleached out, it's beautiful. Has anybody gone to the Everglades and seen them at night? Or up to the Smoky Mountains or somewhere where there are not a lot of city lights and you see them? It is a spectacle. It is beautiful. I like to sit and look at the stars and think, Mark Antony and Cleopatra sat under those same stars. Incredible. This is a little excerpt from a work by an author that I admire very much. His name is Emerson, and this is from a work called Nature. He says, if the stars should appear one night in 1,000 years, can you imagine that? If the stars should only appear one night in 1,000 years, how would men believe and adore and preserve for many generations the remembrance of the city of God which had been shown? And yet, every night come out these envoys of beauty and light the universe with their admonishing smile. The universe is constantly, every second of the day, a night, saying to you, look at how beautiful I am. And then we simply go past it, perhaps, and not look. I would like for you guys to open your eyes and look at that. It'll change your life. This is a painting that I like very much. It's by an American English painter whose name is Church. Do you see the magnificence of nature? Say yes. Do you see the tininess of people here? These are people here. The implication is here, you got problems? Say yes. Of course we all have problems. But your problems are nothing in comparison to the magnificence of nature. In the 19th century, it was very common for people to go out of the cities and go to nature to be healed, to feel that they somehow connected to something more beautiful, more powerful, more innocent, more good. So I hope that perhaps you guys do that. I want you to open your eyes and I want you to know yourself. Guys, who said know yourself? Socrates, thank you very much. I want you to understand who and what you are because it changes everything when you understand, first of all, that we live in paradise. I hope I've proven that to you, yes? Then understanding that, let's focus on ourselves. Who are we? What are we? Yes? I was reading something this morning that said if you spend your whole life trying to figure out what human beings are, you've not wasted your life. You've not wasted your time because we are an amazing creature. We are incredible things. So this first image to the left of the screen is about 30,000 years old. Human beings already at the beginning of human history saying, I want to be creative. I want to explore this incredible mind that I have that says I need to create. I want to understand all things. Who am I? What is this whole thing called the world? And over to the right of the screen, I'm a musician. That's a musical instrument that's been dated to be 40,000 years old. I, as a musician, I love music. I delight in the knowledge that at the beginning of human history, before we had civilization and agriculture and writing and anything, human beings were already artists. Human beings were already musicians. Human beings already delighted in sound. Do you all not love music? Yeah. Open your eyes. Guys, you're creators. That 3-pound thing that you have in your head, that's a brain, it just can't stop. If you think about it, what do we do at night? We dream. Why? Because we can't even stop at night. The brain is constantly trying to figure things out, trying to create, trying to understand, trying to make things better. This is a picture that I took when I went to Guatemala about 2 or 3 years ago to see the ruins at Tikal. And I think I've told you guys that in my class, I was taking pictures from the plane and the cockpit was open and the pilot was in there, saw me taking pictures, turned back to me and said, do you want me to take pictures from the cockpit? And I said, wow, what a nice guy. What a lesson to me. Not only am I in this incredible machine, man-made, how do we get 20 tons of steel up in the sky? The brain can do that. The brain can do anything it wants. But on top of that, I'm learning a lesson of this human being I don't even know, who's saying to me, do you want me to help you out? Do you want me to be kind to you? I got out of the plane and I said, I need to be kind. I need to be helpful. Look at this. This looks like something out of a science fiction movie. But this is our brain. It's almost like I've taken my brain out, put it on the table and said, look at what it is. Look at what my brain is. My brain is creativity nonstop. My brain is just pouring with creativity. You guys are creators. Sometimes we think that only poets and musicians and architects are creators. That's not right. You guys like working on your car? You guys like, sports, whatever. That's all creativity. There's nothing more creative. Look at the guys playing basketball the other day with this ball, just throwing it in this hole and running around and all these rules. It's, again, take my brain, put it on the table. Look at that. I've seen kids like 12 years old grab a basketball and from here as far as where the watch is, the clock is, throw it, it goes in the net. That's incredible. It's incredible. Again, I look at this and rather than saying, oh, life is horrible. I'm sick of government. Oh my God, look at how beautiful we are. Look, who would have thought that we could take sand and make it into glass? Who could have thought that we take these rocks and make it into metal so that we can get these beautiful buildings in the sky? The brain can do anything it wants. Look at this. This is in Berlin. Those of you who are in my class know that that cone inside is made out of mirror. And the entire building is powered by sunlight because this gigantic, beautiful Roman dome on top with glass takes in the sunlight and produces energy for the entire building. Don't tell me that we have problems. There's not a single problem that the human mind can't solve. Not a single problem. All we have to do is want to solve it. Look at this masterpiece. We are creators. This is one of my heroes, Frank Lloyd Wright, who got a commission to build a house for the weekend in 400 acres of forest. And Frank Lloyd Wright was a great lover of nature. And he said, I want the house to seem as if it becomes part of nature so that it disappears into the landscape. Look at this. Again, to me, I look at this and I think, this is the human brain. Look at the complexity, look at the organization, look at the order, look at the structure, look at the beauty, look at the creativity. I just can't stop. I can't conceivably speak to you quickly enough to convey the messages that are going on in my head. You know that, right? One of the reasons I say it in class, one of the reasons that psychology is so useful, that people who go to psychologists or whatever, that's so useful, or if you talk to your friends about a problem and it's so useful, is that when you slow your thoughts down in order to verbalize them, you, for the first time perhaps, are seeing your thoughts. Because your thoughts are so quick and so many and so much that you can't conceivably know what's going on there until you kind of slow them down and verbalize them. That's incredible. Look at this. This is the human brain. Look at that. Nothing there is nature. Everything there is man-made. Is that not correct? Everything there has come out of the ingenuity, the imagination of a human being. You know what this is? Doesn't it look like that? It's a little miniature city. Who would think that these little soldered pieces and these little pieces of metal and these little pieces of glass contain vast amounts of information? Who would think? And yet, did we find this under a rock? Did this grow up from the ground? Where did this come out of? This came out of the human imagination, did it not? This came out of your mind, the human mind. Look at that. I am shocked by that. I am shocked by that. It's almost as if I get a microscope and I go into my brain and see the electrical and chemical connections and things going off, firing in my brain, and I put it into this. And of course, this is a TV set, and this is a DVD, and this is all that stuff. Today, when you go home and you turn on the lights, think, oh my God, human beings. When you go to the computer and turn the computer on and it works and stuff is in there, and think, how are they getting all this information and all these notes and all these letters and all these things, all these pictures in there? I don't understand it, but I'm amazed by it. Look at that city, full of information. Again, is it not, I hope that you think, that you understand, is it not shocking that I can show you these images? I don't have to go individually one by one showing you the little computer chip. I didn't have to fly you to New England or to Tennessee to show you these images, because the human mind conceived of this idea. I want to take physical reality and stick it onto something. And 100 and some years ago, we invented the camera. And then I want to take that image and I want to stick it onto a CD. And a couple of years ago, we invented the DVD. And now I want to take that information and convert it into some who knows what and stick it into the computer so now you can see it. Guys, we are surrounded by the greatness of the human mind, and we perhaps sometimes are not looking at it. This is the inside of a clock. What does it say to me? That when the student is ready, the teacher will come. I see a clock and I think, oh my God, the human mind is spectacular. The human mind. Look at this. Do you guys know we have robots on planet Mars? Say yes. You guys know that we have a telescope, the Hubble, out in the galaxy taking pictures of the birth of stars and doing unbelievable things? You know that. So if you know that, why do we go around saying, every second of your life should be, oh my God, oh, how beautiful, how incredible. Oh, let me hold you, let me hug you. Look at that. Look at that. This is a little robot we have on Mars, taking pictures of that planet for us. Next time you grab your cell phone, and you guys all have cell phones, I am sure, why don't you think about the fact that here this is not connected to anything, and yet you can talk to Paris. Oops, I want to make a reservation at a hotel in Paris. How's that happening? How is my voice being transmitted up into the skies, being received by something and shooting it out to Paris, and the person says, yeah, absolutely, 7:30, well, I got you coming in. Guys, you're problem solvers. Understand that. Anybody have problems? You better say yes. Does the world have problems? Yes. Someone says no. Yes. Are there solutions to your problems? Yes. Are there solutions to the problems of the world? Of course. You are a problem solver. Since the beginning of time, when we were living in caves and we needed a tool, what did we do? The brain says, I need this tool. I think I'll use a bone. It looks like good. I'll take that stuff out of the bone. Oh, I got a tool. Oh, I think I want to get physical reality stuck on a metal disc so I can listen to Beethoven. By the way, I wish I could play you Beethoven today. What a wonderful thing. This is London. Those of you who in my class have seen it. This is 6 stories underground. That's a problem. London is very congested, a lot of traffic, a lot of cars. It takes me 4 hours to go from one end to the other. There's a problem. Do I find a solution? Yes. What do? Reason is supreme. I use my reason. I go down and I build a city underground that uses cars that go underground, and I can go from one end to the other in 15 minutes rather than 4 hours. Yep. I want to go to Paris. I can now go to Paris from Miami in 9 hours. That's less time than it would take me to drive a horse and buggy from Miami to Hialeah or whatever. So understand that. There are problems. There is a welcome to Hialeah. There's always a solution. There's a problem. I got land mass, I got water, I got land mass. I got a solution for you. Oh, it's never going to happen. Oh, it's never going to be solved. Don't even try. You watch me do it. That should be your attitude to every problem. You watch me do it. You guys are brilliant. You are brilliant. Why are you brilliant? Because you're a human being. You're a creator. Look at that. Can anybody understand what's going on there? By the way, whether you can or not, you understand that that's not gibberish. That is fantastic stuff, that the human mind has made sense of the world and has created a system of writing that stuff that we've understood down on paper. Again, I say that next time you're writing yourself a note, oh my God, we invented writing. Music. Thank you, music. Music, my great teacher. Again, since the beginning of time, we've loved music and we've used music. But it took us a while to develop the system where we could notate sound. By the way, listen up, guys. I can't see music, can I? Say no. I can't hold on to music. Yes? And does it not affect you tremendously? Yes. And now we've developed a system where we can take that thing that I can't see and I can't touch and I can't grab, I can notate it. So that now you know exactly what's going on in my head and you could read it. And oh my God, 200 years later, I can play Beethoven, I can play Chopin. This is Mozart. Thank you, Mozart. Thank you, Mozart. Guys, you are limitless energy. You are limitless energy. Has anybody ever, I'm sure, this is a rhetorical question because I know you've all had it. Have you all had the experience of wanting to do something and being excited about doing that, and all of a sudden you find yourself all this energy and all this creativity? Yes? Have you also had the opposite experience of not wanting to do something, thinking that it's dull or boring, and all of a sudden you feel really lazy and really tired and I can't really do it? Where did that energy come from? It came from your head, the source of all things. Everything we're looking at here, other than the planet, has come up from the human imagination. Your endless courage, look at that. Does anybody want to do that? You don't have to do that to be courageous. You are courageous simply by going to school and by working and helping your family out and doing all the things that we do. We are endless courage, guys. Never be afraid. Never be afraid. Your boundless possibility. Do you understand that every single one of you is limitless possibility? Boundless means without limits. Anything you want. Yes? Your pure potential. Your stored energy in this incredible, seemingly gentle body. All this energy and all this stuff, and it's all coming from my brain, and I can change the world, and I can build buildings that are 70,000 stories tall, and I can pave streets, and I can build a cell phone, and I can make a computer. Your pure potential. You're strong. This is one of my favorite statues in the world. The Greeks gave us this great legacy to teach us that even in suffering, this guy's dying, this guy's suffering, and he's going to die, and his 2 sons are going to die. But even in suffering, even in turmoil, even in tribulation, human beings are a force to be reckoned with. Oh my God, mighty, mighty human beings. How fantastic that is. Those of you who are in my class know that numberless wonders walk the world, but what? None to match for man. You are powerful, you are strong. Even when life says, I'm going to knock you down, even when it seems to be having problems, you can do anything you want because your endless power, your endless strength, you're beautiful. This is a painting that for whatever reason I've always admired. This is called The Burial of Atala. Look at the beauty and the love and the tenderness of that painting. Again, where did this come from? It's the human mind of the artist feeling, I want to place this guy in this position, this woman in this position. I want to see the light coming in this way. The human mind capable of so many fantastic, beautiful, extraordinary things. You are a masterpiece. By the way, these masterpieces that we're looking at are nothing in comparison to the masterpiece that you are because they've been created by you. those of you who don't know what this is a sculpture. It looks like I'm showing you a photograph of a man and a woman, but this is a piece of rock that 250 years ago, a guy with a hammer and a chisel said, I want to show you what's in my head. Let me take that rock, bring that rock down from the mountain. Let me have that hammer and a chisel, and let me show you what I can do. Let me show you all the veins that I can show you. Look at the skin of the woman in between the fingers. Look at the grip of the guy on her thigh. Guys, this is who we are. And every day, society, for whatever reason, is not necessarily telling you that. You should every day remind yourselves of it. Keep your eyes open. You are magnificent. I always say this is me floating around. You are magnificent. I can't stress that enough. You see why I can't do this in an hour? How could I conceivably suggest to you the magnitude of what I think you are, what I think we are, what I think I am, in an hour? So I need my whole life to do that. Oh, you'll never go out in space. Oh, you'll never fly, don't even try. You watch me. You are whatever you want. You are whatever you want to be. Again, one of my favorite passages from Pico della Mirandola's oration on the dignity of man, the acuteness of his senses, the inquiry of his reason, and the light of his intelligence justify man's unique right to unbounded admiration. Man is with complete justice to be called a great miracle. Sometimes I'm walking my dog at 10 o'clock at night, looking at the stars, and I'm thinking, the acuteness of his senses, the inquiry of his reason, and the light of his intelligence. Man is with complete justice to be called a great miracle. We are. Look at the cars, look at the streets, look at the traffic lights, look at the stop signs. Look at everything that you do. The chairs that you're sitting in. Are we comfortable in here with the air conditioning? Did we find air conditioning under a rock? The human mind said, I like around 72 degrees. I don't like it colder, I don't like it hotter. Make it happen. Guys, open your eyes, know yourself. You're unique. Are you not? Every one of you. So if you are, and you know you are unique, so therefore why do you want to be a cookie cutter like anybody else? Why do you want to be like anybody else? There is no one like you. Do you see those two puppies? Do you see they're different? They're brothers. They're different. See those two kittens? They're different. It's true. I found these kittens about 2 years ago. They were like this big. Apparently the mother either abandoned them or someone dumped them in my front yard, whatever it is. I was coming to work, whatever. Oh my God. I bring one in and I put it in a box. I'm coming here. Another one. Two little sisters. From day one, I took care of them for like 2 months, bottle fed them until a friend of mine took them both. Completely, from day one, completely individual personalities. Not only do they look different, each one has a different personality. One was shyer, this little fat one over to the right was shy, and the little thin one with the stuff on her eyes was wild. Already, from day one. Guys, you're individuals. You're unique. You don't want to be like anybody else. Oh, because I have it in my classes all the time. How many of you, and then I see you guys looking around. Before I raise my hand, I need to see if anybody else raises his or hers. You'll raise your hand or you don't raise your hand depending on what you feel. You're an individual. Because I need to see how they're dressing, how they're looking, how they're acting, how they're talking. Let me look inside myself and what do I feel? What do I think? What do I say? Incredible little life. Incredible little creature. Incredible little creature, already an individual. Guys, you're not in competition with anyone else. If you are unique and no one else is like you, you're not in competition with anyone else. Finish this quote for me. There's only room at the top for? One. Exactly right. Do you understand how you're being brainwashed? That's stupid. At the top of what? At the top of what heap of, I don't even want to say, is there only room at the top for one? I learned early, because music is a great teacher, that you see this keyboard? 100 pianists could go to that keyboard and touch the same piece, play the same piece. Every single one of the 100 pianists will play it differently, because we are all different, yes? No one has the same brain chemistry that I do. No one has the same childhood experiences that I do. No one has the same whatever that I do. So I'm not in competition with anyone else. I got to say what I got to say. I got to do what I got to do. I got to express what I got to express. That's the same thing with you. When you're going for a job, guys, you're not in competition for a job with anybody else because nobody can do what you can do. Nobody can say what you can say. Is that not correct? So if you're being yourself, if you're understanding who you are, and you approach your life every day as, look at who I am, I'm an individual, everybody will say, that's what I want. Rather than that cookie cutter mold that everybody else is doing. I want to see that person. I want to see that expression of a real individual, a real person. You're not in competition with anyone else. I think this is very powerful. Your success is not achieved at the expense or the exclusion of someone else. In order for me to get to the top, whatever the top means, I don't believe in the top, whatever that means, I don't have to knock you down because you're on a different path. So why do I think that my success is only achieved by knocking you down? And by the way, you guys should explore, what does success mean? Yes? Look in the dictionary. Success, unfortunately, says fame and wealth. What a stupid thing that is. What is success? You gotta explore, what is success to you? Your success is not achieved at the expense or exclusion of anyone else. You don't have to knock anybody else down to have. You have so much. So with this in mind, think. I used to have a sign on my door that said, thinking is good. Sometimes we hear, because you think too much. Has anybody ever heard that? My response to that is always, thinking is good. Explore your mind. Not society's mind, not culture's mind, not anybody else's mind, your mind. Explore your thoughts, your dreams. What are your thoughts? What are your dreams? What do you want? What are your emotions? What do you want? Find your calling. You know what I mean by that? Find your thing, your mojo, your whatever. Find your purpose. Find your mission and you follow it. That's going to give you direction and meaning and vision. Explore your priorities. What are your priorities in life? What do you value? What do you think is happiness? By the way, do you understand that unless you have clear ideas of what it means to be happy, what it means to be a success, you're going to be led by the nose by society saying, you're successful, you're not successful. What? You think. You explore your ideas of what is happiness, what is success. What are my priorities? What is it that I want out of life so that when I get to drop, I look at my life and I say, wow, what a life. Dead. Do you know anybody who's about 50, 60, 70, 80 years old and looks back at their life and says, oh my God, what a waste. I never did anything I thought. Follow your bliss. You know what I mean by that? For some strange reason, this is my bliss. I love this. Follow your heart, follow your dreams. Don't settle for less, children. Don't settle for less. I had a student tell me the other day, I'm studying this, but I don't like it. I realize I don't like it, but now it's too late because I've already gotten so many credits in this. What? If you don't think you're happy, you change it. This is what youth is for. You want to explore things. Sometimes we think, you got to take these credits and these are the only things you can take. You got to be out here by 2 years. Who says? So you got to be out here by 2 years and then all of a sudden you have a career you don't love? What's the point in that? Guys, explore your ideas and your bliss and take a class in astronomy if it appeals to you. Take a class in anthropology if it appeals to you. Take a class in history. Take a class in world literature. Whatever appeals to you, take it because you don't know where that bliss will be. You don't know where that door will be. But if you know that you're attracted to it, that might certainly be it. I love this quote. This is by John Ruskin, a 19th century art critic. He says, when love and skill work together, expect a masterpiece. When you love what you do and you work at being good at it, you're going to have a masterpiece. How can I have a masterpiece if I'm working at something I don't love? Every day that I hit the hammer with the chisel with the hammer, I'm thinking, don't expect a masterpiece there. When love and skill work together, expect a masterpiece. Guys, dare to explore your imagination. Do you know this is the step pyramid? This is the world's oldest large-scale stone structure. Do you know that when this guy did this, no one else on planet Earth had done it? I am sure that everyone was saying to him, don't even try, it's never going to happen. Don't even start. The guy says, I see it in my head, I got to do it. I'm going to do it. Dare to explore your limitless potential. The first time that anyone on planet Earth did something like this. Children, dare to dream, would you? Please. Don't say, that's just a dream. I don't think I can do that. That's what life is about. That's what life is about. You can do anything you want. Stand in front of that pyramid. You see those little dots there? Those are people. Stand in front of those in that thing that's 5,000 years old almost, and tell yourself, and here I'm saying I can't do this, and here I'm saying that in the middle of my career I can't change careers, and here I'm thinking, I can't get an A in humanities, I can't get an A in theory. What? You can do anything you want. 5,000 years ago with almost no tools, these guys did that. Look at that. I just had to show that, because I love that so much. Dare to be great, even if no one is looking. The sculpture on the left of the screen is Michelangelo's David. Michelangelo, when he was commissioned to do this, expected that this statue would be at the top of a church, about 6, 7, 8 stories up. You know that he didn't expect anyone would see that vein. You know that he didn't expect that anyone would ever see the callus on that finger, that anyone would see the cuticle there, and yet he did it. Why? Because he is daring himself to see how great I can be. Every day I want to be great. I want to explore this incredible thing. I don't care if anybody ever sees it. I want to take whatever I've got inside and I want to do it. Shakespeare is another one of my unbelievable heroes, as Michelangelo. Thank you, Michelangelo. Shakespeare, you know Shakespeare, yes? God on earth, yes? And yet, you know that those words that today we look over and salivate at and just are shocked by, you know that those words were not even intended to be written down. His works were not collected in a volume until after his death. And you know the people that went to those plays? You had prostitutes, you had pickpockets, you had just guys in the street that, I don't have anything to do, let me come in here. And today we look at those words and said, what? He was writing for those audiences and writing this magnificent thing? So dare to be great even if no one is ever going to see it. I got this inside, I got to pour it out, I got to put it out. Challenge yourself. Michelangelo didn't want to do the Sistine Chapel. When Pope Julius II said, go do it, he said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do fresco. Pope Julius says, you're going to do it. Michelangelo says, I'm going to have to. And look what he did. The greatest fresco in the history of mankind. And by the way, he didn't want to do it, and he didn't say, I'm going to have to do it, I'm going to do a bad job. It's not Michelangelo. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do the best job possible. And he created this incredible masterpiece, in every single case challenging himself to be great. Because he is great, because you guys are great. Cultivate yourselves. One day at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 second at a time. What can you do to cultivate yourself? Read, have conversations with your friends, sit under a tree out in the field, listen to Beethoven, listen to Chopin. Never stop learning. This is Leonardo da Vinci, never stop growing. I'm looking at the clock. Do you understand that Leonardo da Vinci was painting something and he says, oh, I need to study botany. I need to know about botany. He'd be studying botany and say, oh, I need to know about anatomy. He'd be doing the anatomy and say, oh, I need to study geometry. People around him, I'm sure, were saying, what a waste. Are you ADD? What's wrong with you? Get it together. I want to know everything. Pull it in. Who cares what anybody says? But guys, the student that told me that the other day, says, I've wasted all this time. Guys, it's never a waste of time when you're learning things. All that knowledge that you've gained in this, even if you change careers, you're going to use that somewhere along the line. Knowledge is never wasted. Don't be afraid. Guys, you can face whatever life throws at you. This is another one of my heroes, the great Beethoven. Thank you, Beethoven. Face the world. Those of you who know a little about Beethoven, Beethoven had a horrible childhood. He had a horrible adolescence. He had a difficult adulthood. And finally, the only thing that this guy seems to get is music. And what happened to Beethoven when he's 26? He starts losing his hearing, and by 30, he's stone deaf. This incredible guy, abusive, alcoholic father, sick mother, every girl, the friend that he fell in love with said, are you crazy? You? This guy never married, never had any children, lived alone, now he's completely deaf. The world seems to be saying, I'm going to mess with you, I'm going to step on you. Beethoven says, not with me, not with me. So don't be afraid of setbacks. Anybody is afraid of setbacks? Oh, I'm afraid of mistakes. Who doesn't make mistakes? Has anybody ever not made a mistake? We tend to think, and the older I get, the more I realize it. We tend to think when we're young that life is like this. It's a clean sweep to perfection. Guys, it is not. Life is this, twisting and turning and back and up and down, and that makes it very rich. This is Beethoven's music. Do you see this? Oops. You want me killing myself? You see that? Beethoven gets this much music after 100 pages of corrections and changes and errors, and this is not what I want, a B natural, not a B flat, I think I want an eighth, not a quarter. Oh, this is terrible, this is the worst, throw it out. And what do you have? You have magnificence. Don't ever be afraid of mistakes. That's the world. The thing is, you want to try to learn from them, right? Guys, make a decision. I love this. This is Goethe, the German writer. At the moment of commitment, the universe conspires to assist you. As soon as you make a commitment, the universe says, how can I help? Has anybody ever had that experience? Yeah. I can tell you that happens to me every time. As soon as I have this desire, as soon as I want to do this, all of a sudden everything, how did that happen? How did that happen? Believe in yourself. Beethoven believed in himself. Trust yourself. Trust in humankind. How many times people go around saying, oh, I'm a nice guy, but nobody else is. Guys, most people are doing the right thing. Most people are trying to be the best they can. Be positive about yourself. Do you think this guy can be out there if he's not positive about himself? I think I'll be home and I'll stay home and not do anything. Be positive about the future. I always ask my classes, what do you think about the future? You should be positive about the future. Make the world a better place by being you. The world needs you as an individual, yes, as a unique person, not as a copy of anybody else. You can change the world. Can you change the world? Yes, yes. I tell my students every time, you guys are changing the world every day simply by being you. Do I not tell you? Yes. Sometimes students never say a single word in class. And yet every day those students, simply by their expression, by their desire, they're affecting me. And by affecting me, they're affecting 100 other people in the class. Is that not crazy? So you guys are going around and you're affecting the world. You go to the cafeteria, you're nice to those ladies, you just change the world. You go out in the street, someone wants to get into your lane, you let them in, you just change the world. Or if you don't let them in, you just change the world too. Guys, you can't help it. You are changing the world, are you not? Every one of you is changing the world every second because the world does not exist other than what you're creating. You guys are creating the world. The dead are dead and the unborn haven't been born. This is it. This is the world. You guys are creating it. Your actions affect the world. Do they not? A couple of semesters ago, someone sent me an email about bags at Publix and how they're never going to decompose. So I went to Publix and bought a cloth bag. How easy is that? One cloth bag that I've used now like 1,000 times. So I've saved 1,000 stupid plastic bags for the earth. Think before you act. What did I say about thinking? Thinking is what? Thinking is good. Think before you speak. How many times do you go to the cafeteria and you see people being nasty to those ladies or to the janitor or whatever? Guys, think before you act. How do you like to be spoken to? Be the change you want to see in the world. My God, you see I need 17 hours. Be the change you want to see in the world. Let him who would move the world first move himself. Socrates. Let him who would move the world. You want to change the world? You got to change yourself. Stop complaining. A wise man makes demands on himself. A vulgar man makes demands on others. That's Confucius. When you see a wise man, seek to imitate him. When you see an unwise man, examine yourself. When you see someone doing something you don't think is good, rather than complain about it, you say, how many times do I act like that? Why do you look at the splinter in your brother's eye and never notice the great log in yours? I love that. Oh, look at his splinter, look at his splinter. Take that damn big log out of your eye. Guys, lead by example. Pythagoras said that. Lead by example. Don't blame, take responsibility. Confucius said that the world will achieve civil and political harmony only when individuals achieve moral harmony within themselves. It's not up to the government, it's not up to anybody else, it's up to you. Treat others the way you would like to be treated. Guys, how do you like to be treated? With kindness, with respect, with love, yes, with gentleness. So then why are we not doing that out in the world? Why are we not doing it? Because we're not thinking. Don't look at me, I don't want to be looked at. Be compassionate, be kind, be loving. I want to be treated with compassion, yes? I want to be treated kindly, I want to be treated lovingly, so therefore I got to do that. If in one day, 1 hour, everything could be arranged at once, the chief thing is to love. What a wonderful thing. Yes? It's all about love. What is done out of living creatures. That's Einstein. Einstein said that. That is good. And Motsu from China 2,500 years ago said the evils of this world are ultimately due to a lack of love. If someone wants to get into your lane while you're driving, for God's sakes, let them in. Leave the world better than you got it. Guys, we live in paradise. Take care of it. Love it. Go hug a tree and go look at a little ant and say, my God, instead of stepping on you, I'm gonna, oh my God, beautiful little ant. Don't think of the world as a beautiful, wonderful place and take care of it. Leave it better than you got it. Open your eyes. This is your moment, is it not? This is your moment. This is your life. Live life deliberately. Thoreau, the great writer, said that he went into the woods because he wished to live deliberately. In other words, he went into the woods because I want to understand what life is about, because I want to live life on purpose. You guys are living life on purpose? I hope. And Mozart said, I would like to know all that is true, good, and beautiful. And that's what I wish for all of you, that you would know all that is true, good, and beautiful. So thank you, Mozart. Guys, thank you very, 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 very much for the opportunity to hang with you. let me just say, I got, as I always say in class, I've got 2 minutes and I'm going to use them. I want to thank, first of all, Marta Magellan for asking me. I want to thank Miami-Dade for giving me the opportunity to do what I want to do, which is this. And I want to thank the students who every single semester always give me much more than I am capable of ever giving them. You guys always reinforce what I already believe, that human beings are great, that human beings are good, that human beings are doing the best they can. So you guys are always an inspiration to me. So thank you, and go off and have great lives and do great things.